Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the CTO and the Jamaica Broadcasting Commission for inviting me here. I appreciate the opportunity. And I'm the last one on here, so I'll try to go through pretty quickly. And luckily, many of my fellow presenters actually covered some of the things that I want to talk about, so we can be pretty efficient here. Okay, let me get this. Okay, so what I really want to focus on in my talk is what are some of the potential business opportunities for what I'm terming as digital terrestrial TV 2.0. And one thing that is really good news for those of you here that have not transitioned to digital is that it really isn't a bad idea to be later to the table. The pioneers are the ones that have to make all the mistakes and learn by them. And also, you know, the beginning of the digital TV transitions worldwide were almost 20 years ago when they began, not when all the shutoffs occurred. And a lot has happened in 20 years in terms of being able to have better services, better technology for digital terrestrial TV. These items are kind of, we've talked about this a little bit, but these are items that are really important in terms of what these next generation systems can do. Flexibility, of course, is very important. Capacity, which has been discussed, the ability to get more channels into a single band of your or single slice of spectrum. And also a new twist with these next generation systems are internet protocol or internet compatibility, being able to prepare a piece of content and have it eventually be streamed to second screens is really important. And also with the new ATSC 3.0 system, now we have compatibility for DTT systems worldwide and also with LTE standards. So how does all this translate into new services? So one of the things that's been discussed is the high definition, the ultra high definition capabilities, picture and sound, which if you all have not tasted any of this, it really is truly spectacular, and especially in places where there's still terrestrial analog happening. I mean, when you switch over to digital, even standard definition is pretty exciting for most viewers, but if you switch from analog and you go to HD or to UHD, it's really stunning. But that's not the only thing that can be done with these new systems. So you have much more channel capacity. If you don't want to do a super high definition kind of service, you can actually put more TV channels into your spectrum due to the capacity gains. Some of these systems are more conducive to mobile transmissions. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about the advanced emergency alert systems. I think this is really important, especially here in the Caribbean, and especially in 2017, when the hurricane season has just been really horrific. And I think this is something that's really important to a lot of the governments around the region. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about how IP is included in the ATSC 3.0 system and also in DVB-T 2 systems, the European systems, in terms of for the ATSC 3.0 standard, it's really more at the core. It's included in the standard and you can prepare a piece of content at the beginning. In the European arena, DVB-T2 is using a little bit of a different method. They're taking another standard called hybrid broadband broadcast TV, and they're putting it together with DVB-T2. and they're coming up with a unified user interface. So you've got a box that's really hybrid. It's bringing in broadcast and it's bringing in broadband signals. So the big question everybody wants to know is, how could these services potentially represent more revenue and equally as important, viewer retention? So first, on capacity, there is the opportunity to have business-to-business services. There's a possibility to have data transmission for maybe, for example, a software supplier that needs to get upgrades efficiently to computers. And then also there's the possibility of edge storage as well. So the ability to be able to, if you are an OTT provider and you needed to get some commonly watched programs to individual households, there's a way to cache that and to use the service to allow other companies to do that kind of service. And then, of course, pay TV is one of the options, depending upon what the regulation is in your country, and also depending upon what the competitive environment is with pay TV in your region. And then on the IP part of the equation, and I think Mark will probably talk about this some more, but there's the opportunity to do more targeted advertising, which is really important because the folks that are delivering video content over the internet have some advantages over terrestrial broadcasters with targeted advertising, and there are some methods that can be used to accomplish this with the next generation systems. And also, of course, the second viewing in the home, so a second screen, which is important because your viewers are already doing that and they would like to continue to do that on whatever platform they're watching TV on. And then there's also the possibility of having on-demand services if you're doing pay TV and you can store content in the cloud and actually use on-demand services that way. And for most all of these things, hopefully there will be a subscription price, or there will be a little upsell perhaps for on-demand services that can be brought in from the cloud. I want to talk a little bit about the less tangible benefits. These are things that may not be as obvious, but I think they're really important, and they've been touched on a little bit here. First of all, if you're doing a multiplex transmission with digital TV, you can actually save on costs long term in terms of, first of all, lower power costs, which I think was already discussed, and also if you're doing a multiplex, then there's a lot less redundancy of equipment. You don't have to buy 3 or 4 encoders. You only have to have one in the system. And broadcast antennas and transmitters are very expensive pieces of equipment. Also, I want to just kind of skip down, touch lightly on another kind of long-term savings, which has to do with when you do buy new modern broadcast equipment, there is a much greater ability to get upgrades through software. And there can be some long-term savings from not having to buy as much hardware further down the line when you need to upgrade or when you need to replace equipment. And then I think probably insurance against obsolescence may be one of the most important bullet points on this slide. And I would say that this is no small matter. As more and more time passes, and it's actually happening now, it's getting more difficult to get replacement parts or to get actual analog hardware. There are equipment suppliers that are no longer making tube transmitters. These are some very important things to think about. And then, of course, as far as the viewers are concerned, if broadcasters want to stay in the business of delivering content over terrestrial transmissions, and they want to stay relevant with their viewers, they really are going to have to leave the analog world behind. Viewers are way ahead. They are not going to wait, and I think that it is an important point to really emphasize. So we got to the pain points. So it's not all roses and champagne. There are some difficult things which we've talked about in this session already. Of course, the cost of building new infrastructure. It's capital intensive. There's a lot of money involved in that, and the overall transition going from analog to digital and switching off analog, it's not an easy process. There are many components that have to be accomplished, and making sure that the viewers are informed and educated on what's going to happen and what they have to do so they won't lose their TV signals is a big job. I'm just going to point out two things here on this slide. Basically, I wanted to point out the ATSC 3.0 and the DVB-T plus HEVC lines here. These are the latest next generation systems that are being deployed this year. ATSC 3.0 first in South Korea, and the DVB-T2 with the most up-to-date compression technology is being deployed in Germany now, in Europe. That's a freemium service. It's a service where you can start watching free-to-air programming, and then if you choose to upgrade to the HD and the subscription-based service, then you can do that. And in summary, I just want to point out a few things that I think are probably the most important to take away from this particular topic. Greater flexibility and more capacity are probably the most important elements in this looking at new business cases with next-gen TV. Also, the internet component is also very important, whether it's from the perspective of having the IP at the core of the system, or whether it's having a hybrid broadcast broadband system. It's something that I think all broadcasters are going to have to incorporate into their systems going forward. And lastly, I think that when thinking about business models and why you're going to change and what you want to do to increase your bottom line, I think you also have to put into that equation the sustaining your relevance and your competitiveness to be part of this very rapidly changing video ecosystem. And with that, I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Myra. I think she's given us some business opportunities for those who are here to commercialize their presence here. She's given us the flexibility that the systems offer. Mobile services can be provided. She's given us opportunities in terms of capacity, pay TV services which can be introduced. She's also given us the possibilities of having targeted advertising opportunities through apps, use of clouds, and also she's given us a sample of what happened when digital transition came up, the spectacular images that we all enjoy today. She's also mentioned some of the less tangible benefits in terms of broadcast equipment which you can have your software to be upgraded. She's given us also the pain points, the fact that you have to have the infrastructure, funding required, awareness created. And I think that's a very short, straight to the point So let's give her one more round of applause.